I got back into therapy. I couldn't be with my therapist all year last year because I ended up spending the entire year outside of the United States. Video is gonna get taken out of context, and I know that at this point I can't really stop people from doing that because that's what my whole existence on the internet is just me being taken out of context and stuff.
Someone must have had this conversation and then they purposely left her out.
Change happening in my life at that time, and I really needed some mental, emotional, spiritual guidance.
Hollywood insiders aren't whispering anymore. They're flat out saying it. Rachel Zegler is on her own.
The second I land in Los Angeles, I am flooded with a flurry of different emotions, and I can't figure out what's real and what's not.
After months of flops, backlash, and viral clips that seem to get worse with every repost, the people around her, the ones who are supposed to shape her image, manage the fallout, and keep her star from collapsing, are reportedly pulling back, quietly, strategically, and in some cases entirely.
Not to add fuel to the Rachel Zegler Oscar fiasco, but why did they have these women, all Disney princesses, all stated as Disney princesses, come out to present, but not include Rachel Zegler, who's going to be Snow White? They're clearly acknowledging Disney princesses from movies that have not been released yet. Someone must have had this conversation and then they purposely left her out, even though she was the only one with a hit movie this year of the four. Did anyone else notice this, or am I overthinking?
According to multiple industry sources, Zegler's team is in full-blown chaos. One PR rep allegedly described her situation as unworkable. Another insider claims her camp is fractured, with some publicists and agents now unwilling to pitch her for certain campaigns or events. The reason? She's become a reputation risk, the kind that no one wants to babysit anymore. And the worst part? Zegler apparently doesn't see it.
And as I was landing in Los Angeles, I realized what a dark headspace I had been in and how LA was making me feel like I was still there, because LA is a really hard place to be, especially if you're a New Yorker. I think the adjustment is so much different.
A source close to a Hollywood management firm told us there's a sense that she thinks she can power through it. But the calls aren't coming in anymore, and the people around her are tired of trying to spin straw into gold. This isn't a temporary PR hiccup, it's a slow collapse. And if the reports are true, Rachel's team isn't regrouping, they're bailing. Some quietly, some suddenly, but the message is clear. She's becoming too much to manage. In an industry built on image, support systems are everything. And when those systems break down, the fall happens fast. Right now, Zegler may still have the contracts, the roles, the name recognition, but according to the people who really know how this town works, the infrastructure is crumbling, and she's standing in the wreckage alone.
I'm a very talented, capable individual. I'm here for a reason. I can do it.
The numbers are in, and they're worse than anyone expected. Disney's re-release of the original Snow White barely made a dent at the box office, and insiders are reportedly placing part of the blame squarely on the current face of the franchise, Rachel Zegler. To be clear, Zegler had no hand in the 1937 animation. But thanks to her highly controversial statements about the remake, her jabs at the original, the prince, the story, and even the legacy, she became the unexpected face of its failure. And the re-release didn't just underperform, it flopped. Hard. A humiliating turn for a legacy property Disney once considered untouchable. Industry observers are calling it a brand drag.
Disney, in a desperate attempt to make this film less of a financial disaster, actually managed to double humiliate it again.
According to box office analysts, the backlash surrounding Zegler's version of Snow White created so much noise that even the original film couldn't escape the fallout. Audiences stayed away. Longtime fans refused to support it. Social media comments were flooded with references to Zegler's interviews, many of which are still being clipped and mocked to this day. And Disney? Silent. No pushback. No effort to redirect the conversation. No public defense of Zegler. If anything, the studio's reaction felt deliberate. Let it crash, move on, and quietly sever the association. This wasn't just a re-release gone wrong. It was a referendum, a signal to the industry that Rachel Zegler doesn't have the draw or the goodwill to anchor a billion-dollar brand. And now, the question isn't just whether she's in trouble, it's whether she's already been written off. Because when Disney lets a legacy title go up in flames to avoid defending their lead actress, that's not corporate confusion. That's a cold, calculated step back.
Disney issued a re-release of the Rachel Zegler Snow White debacle for Mother's Day and started a big advertising campaign about take your mom to watch Snow White on Mother's Day, it's gonna be good, blah, 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 blah. Do you know how much money they made? $50.
Behind the scenes, the tension is reportedly unbearable. Publicists, managers, studio liaisons, all scrambling to figure out how to clean up a mess they didn't see coming, and many no longer want to be a part of. Multiple insiders claim that Zegler's team is fractured, with some pushing for an aggressive rebrand, while others have allegedly checked out completely. One source close to a prominent PR firm described it bluntly: it's dysfunction. No one's on the same page. Her messaging is all over the place, and honestly, no one wants to be the one to deliver bad news to her anymore. Another speculated that Zegler's team is split between those who still believe in her comeback arc and those who are simply waiting out their contracts. What's clear is this: there's no unified strategy. Her tone in interviews doesn't match her online presence. Her social silence doesn't align with her on-camera confidence. And the worst part? Every time her team tries to pivot, a new clip surfaces, a past quote resurfaces, or another awkward red carpet moment trends again. It's whack-a-mole with a public reputation. The exhaustion is real. One Hollywood rep said off the record that Zegler has become a client you have to manage around, not with. That's never a good sign in an industry built on seamless branding. And as the pressure grows, rumors suggest some reps have already stepped back from major projects.
The Snow White re-release film averaged $50 per movie theater, which is less than 4 tickets.
She's reportedly been pulled from initial conversations about award shows and media appearances, either to avoid further backlash or because the team simply doesn't know how to present her anymore. It's not just a branding issue, it's a leadership collapse. And without clear direction or public support, Zegler's team chaos might not just be temporary, it might be permanent, even in an industry known for difficult talent. Rachel Zegler is reportedly becoming a harder and harder sell, not just to the public, but to the very people who once vouched for her. From PR handlers to casting directors, the narrative forming behind closed doors is chilling. She's not worth the risk anymore. Why? Because the more she speaks, the harder it gets to defend her. Whether it's her now infamous comments about Snow White being outdated, her snide remarks about co-stars, or her habit of doubling down when public sentiment turns against her, Zegler's interviews have become liabilities. What once came off as confident now reads as combative. What once felt fresh now feels arrogant. And, according to Hollywood insiders, it's creating a very real problem for the people tasked with protecting her image. She doesn't listen, one rep allegedly told an industry source. Every time we think she's learned from the backlash, she does it again. She pushes the same tone, and it backfires every time.
Josh and I have been operating and living together, and not to sound codependent, but I miss him. You know what, actually, I resent that. I resent the fact that I felt the need to say that.
And it's not just her words, it's the way she delivers them. That smirk, that dismissive tone, the clipped sound bites that go viral for all the wrong reasons. It's giving mean girl energy when the public is asking for humility. And the more Zegler leans into performance, the less relatable she becomes. In an era where likability is currency, Zegler's balance sheet is plummeting. She's no longer seen as the bright, promising newcomer. She's becoming the face of hard to work with, and worse, hard to root for. And when your own team can't defend your tone, your attitude, or your choices in front of executives and press, that's when you stop being a client and start being a problem. One of the clearest signs a celebrity has fallen out of favor: the invites stop coming, the tags disappear, the reposts vanish. And for Rachel Zegler, that slow fade is happening in real time, and it's visible to anyone paying attention. Red carpets she used to dominate, no longer on the list. Fashion events that once embraced her, silent. Influencer campaigns and branded appearances, dry. And the most brutal part? No one is covering for her. Social media used to buzz with posts from co-stars, stylists, and Hollywood insiders hyping her up. But now, it's radio silence. No one's posting old memories. No one's shouting out her interviews. Even entertainment outlets that previously gushed about her rising star seem to be giving her a wide berth. It's the kind of absence that only feels loud when someone was once everywhere. It's not just A-listers who are keeping their distance. Micro-influencers, film critics, and even dedicated fan accounts have noticeably backed off.
Disney has done the impossible and made Snow White an even bigger bomb.
The TikTok edits have slowed. The fan art has gone quiet. The only viral content left is old clips being recontextualized into cautionary tales about celebrity ego and PR flops. Some industry watchers believe this freeze-out isn't accidental. It's industry survival. no one wants to be next to the backlash, one producer said. Even showing up in a group photo with her right now can spark a headline. And let's not forget, in Hollywood, visibility is power. When you're no longer included, no longer celebrated, and no longer posted, you're not just out of the loop, you're out of the conversation. Zegler may still be working, but she's no longer being welcomed. And in this town, that's the first step toward being replaced. If you're waiting for Disney to come to Rachel Zegler's defense, don't hold your breath. Because in the wake of the Snow White backlash and her mounting PR disasters, the once proud studio seems to be doing the unthinkable, walking away, quietly, strategically, and without looking back. Insiders are already whispering that Disney has shifted priorities regarding Zegler. No more push, no new press, no special magazine covers or behind-the-scenes features hyping her upcoming role. In fact, there hasn't been a single major promotional moment involving Zegler since the early backlash went viral. The studio that once threw its full weight behind its Princess remake is now, seemingly, letting it all die on the vine. And let's not ignore the most telling signal. Disney didn't even bother defending her after the original Snow White re-release tanked. No spin, no comment, nothing. If Zegler was still considered a valuable face of the brand, they'd be controlling the narrative. Instead, they've let it spiral, and fans are starting to wonder if a quiet exit strategy is already in motion. There's even speculation that reshoots and edits are being discussed behind closed doors.
Whenever I talk about, I've been away from Josh for 4 days now, and I miss him. Obviously, he's the best.
Some insiders suggest the studio may trim her role in post. Others think they're already scouting new faces for future princess features, ones with less baggage and more audience goodwill. Is Zegler being recast? Not officially, but this is Disney. When they part ways with a star, they don't announce it. They just stop calling. And if Disney's already made up its mind, that's not just bad for Rachel, it's catastrophic. Because when the mouse stops backing you, you don't just lose a role, you lose the kingdom. If you've noticed that Rachel Zegler's once busy Instagram feed has gone strangely quiet, you're not imagining things. Her posts have slowed, her captions have grown more filtered, and her usual on-camera confidence replaced by a tightly curated digital silence that feels less like a break and more like a strategy. According to multiple sources, Zegler's team may have advised her to go dark. After months of PR missteps, tone-deaf interviews, and viral backlash clips, the safest move might have been to pull her offline before things got even worse. Because every time she posted, the internet lit up, and not in a good way. Her critics dissected every word. Her fans struggled to defend her tone, and even casual observers began to wonder, why does she keep saying the wrong thing at the worst time? The answer might be simple. She was too online, too unfiltered, and too sure the public still saw her as the hero of the story. But now, the silence is its own headline. No meaningful engagement, no heartfelt notes, no visible attempt to rebuild trust. Just the occasional polished snapshot, likely team-approved and strategically timed. It's not real vulnerability, it's crisis containment, and audiences can feel it. Worse, the longer she stays quiet, the more people assume she has something to hide. In Hollywood, a controlled silence doesn't always look like maturity. It often looks like management scrambling behind the curtain. And if Zegler's team is the one pulling the strings, it's clear they don't trust her to speak freely anymore.
Please don't feel bad for missing your partner after a couple days of being away from them. Don't let anybody make you feel like that's a negative thing. It's not. It's totally normal. You should like your partner. You should like your alone time, and I do.
The irony? For someone who once billed herself as outspoken, bold, and unafraid, Rachel Zegler has never felt more filtered or more alone. In an industry known for sudden switches and backroom recasts, the newest rumor surrounding Rachel Zegler isn't being shouted, it's being whispered. Is she already being replaced? It's speculative, but increasingly plausible. According to multiple industry insiders, conversations are quietly shifting toward contingency plans, not formal announcements, not press releases, just the kind of low-volume talk that happens when studios start hedging their bets. There's definitely been chatter, one source said. Let's just say backup options have come up. What does that mean in real terms? For one, roles Zegler was previously attached to are no longer being promoted as her star vehicles. Future scheduling talks have reportedly stalled. A producer tied to one upcoming franchise project described the atmosphere as non-committal, a polite way of saying they're not banking on her anymore. Even casting agents have noted that certain roles she was once in serious talks for are now back in the pool. And in Hollywood, that's all it takes. You're in until you're not. And right now, Zegler's name doesn't seem to carry the weight it once did. Fans have started speculating too. On Reddit and TikTok, theories are swirling that Snow White may never even reach its original release date, that the film could be delayed indefinitely, retooled, or even quietly dropped altogether. Others believe her character may be minimized in favor of other storylines, Again, nothing is confirmed, but the energy has shifted, because when studios start thinking about damage control before your movie even premieres, you're not the future of the franchise anymore. And in Zegler's case, it's starting to feel like she's being written out before the credits even roll. In moments of celebrity controversy, you can usually count on at least one person to speak up. A co-star, a director, a friend, someone willing to say, she's not what they say she is.
But after Rachel Zegler got lambasted for being the reason the film flopped, and she is the reason the film flopped, now I don't think that there was a ton of appetite for the film in general, but I think it had a fair shot at least breaking even.
But in Rachel Zegler's case, there's been nothing. No Instagram notes from fellow actors. No show of solidarity from past collaborators. No give her grace tweets from peers. Not even a subtle like. And in a digital age where even silence becomes a message, this silence is beginning to scream. Where are the directors who once praised her as the next big thing? Where are the influencers who were gifted press boxes and PR kits from her film promos? Where are the co-stars who used to tag her in cast selfies? Gone, or choosing not to be seen. Even during her West Side Story peak, Zegler had defenders, people who rallied around her when she was overlooked for Oscars or unfairly critiqued online. But now that the backlash is bigger and the criticism has moved beyond surface-level buzz to deep-seated reputational damage, those same supporters are nowhere to be found. Insiders believe it's a survival move. Nobody wants to be her shield right now. One PR strategist commented, "There's no upside. If you back her, you become part of the backlash, and no one's willing to take that bullet." This kind of isolation doesn't happen overnight. It builds, one controversy at a time. But once it hits, it becomes career-threatening. Because in Hollywood, it's not just about who hires you. It's about who defends you when things get ugly. And for Zegler, it's officially ugly, and she's facing it alone. The headlines are one thing. The fan backlash, the studio silence, the disappearing team, those are symptoms. But underneath it all, the real question everyone in Hollywood is now asking is this: has Rachel Zegler burned every bridge before she even finished crossing them? She was supposed to be the next big thing, a Disney princess, a Spielberg discovery, a Gen Z firebrand. But now, she's a case study in how fast it can all fall apart. Her PR team is reportedly fractured, her co-stars are silent, Disney seems ready to cut its losses, and the media machine that once celebrated her with breathless headlines now won't even defend her in a footnote. Maybe the most damning part is the sense that this isn't some outside scandal taking her down. It's her tone, her interviews, her refusal to read the room, over and over again. Zegler seemed to lean into a persona that came off as smug, performative, and alienating, even to the people tasked with promoting her. And now, no one's left to clean up the mess. Her team, once eager to position her as Hollywood's next household name, is reportedly exhausted. The fans that once gave her the benefit of the doubt are pulling back. And the studios? They're already thinking about replacements. There's still time to course correct, maybe, but that would require something Zegler hasn't shown yet. Humility. The kind that doesn't come with a filter. The kind that doesn't get test marketed through a crisis PR plan. The kind that actually earns back trust. Because right now, she's not just losing roles, she's losing relevance. And in an industry that moves at the speed of silence, that's a fall you rarely come back from. So what do you think? Has Zegler pushed her luck too far? Is this just a PR nightmare, or the beginning of a full career collapse? Drop your thoughts below, hit like and subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next star to fall might already be trending, and trust me, you won't believe who's next.